Welcome back. We're now joined by Kariua Mukuahima, a passionate advocate against gender-based violence and a key voice in the Blackstone Law Firm's ongoing public awareness campaign. Now, as Namibia continues to confront the urgent crisis of gender-based violence, Kariua and the team are empowering citizens to know their rights, seek legal help and speak out against abuse. The message is clear. Gender-based violence is a crime. Report it. Today we talk about the importance of legal support, access to justice, and why silence is never the solution. Kariua, good evening and welcome.
Thank you for having me tonight. It's quite an honor. Yes.
Thank you for being here. Well, just to start with, talk to us about, why the firm that you're working with decided to take such a stance and such a visible stance and proactive stance on GBV.
One of the main reasons why we had chosen gender-based violence as a project, a community project, is because we saw that a lot of people only know about the traditional form of gender-based violence, which is the abuse, the physical abuse aspect. But not a lot of people actually know about the emotional abuse aspect, especially in the modern society now. So hence why we thought it would be more appropriate actually to educate the public on emotional abuse, obviously with physical abuse as well that comes with gender-based violence. Yes.
The campaign message is quite clear. It tells us that gender-based violence is a crime and, you have to report it. What are some of the most common barriers that survivors face, Kariua, when trying to report or either just escape abuse? Through our research, we actually found that one of the reasons why people, or let me rather say victims, don't report gender-based violence cases, or why it's done at a later stage when sometimes we say it's too late. It's more because of the fear and also not knowing that you're actually going through gender-based violence. I mean, those that are going through physical abuse, they would then have this mindset of thinking that the person would change sooner or later. And one of the other factors is also the financial dependency on this person, right? Because most of the time, the person that is the abuser is the head of the house or are in a strong financial position to cater for the victim. Hence why one of the major factors why victims don't actually report their cases, or in unfortunate circumstances, it's too late. Yeah. You mentioned emotional abuse being one of the least known forms of gender-based violence, but I think financial abuse is right alongside it.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. It's tied to emotion of insults and manipulation, but because your financial aspect does have a great impact in terms of how you show up as a person and also your emotional well-being. So in that form, it is an indirect form of gender-based violence, obviously subsequent to emotional abuse.
Blackstone Law Firm is offering free legal assistance through organizations such as, or rather the campaign, I should say, through organizations that are, such as the LAC and the GBV PU. Talk to us about how critical access to legal support is in helping, victims really reclaim their safety as well as, their rights.
Okay. Just before I go to that, I would like to say that it is quite of great importance that people first know that they are going through gender-based violence. Like I said, emotional abuse, people don't know that gaslighting per se in a friend group is a form of gender-based violence. They don't know that. And once people are aware that a friend or a cousin, a family member, whoever it may be, is going through gender-based violence, only then can they know that, okay, what are the available legal remedies that one can take. And most, or let's say the traditional forms of legal remedies available, the first is obviously opening a case with the police, reporting it. But I think one of the major steps really in terms of getting there
in reporting the entire incident, whether it be physical or emotional abuse, is first talking to someone. I think we undermine that so much because in modern society there is this I would say this trend where a lot of people love to have emotional independency, where you don't talk, or where you are Aristotic, you know, those philosophers where you keep everything in, bottled in, but then they don't notice that when they do that, they also adding on to the abuse that they're going through, whether it be emotional or physical. So what we actually advocate for is talk to someone, be it a friend, be it a sister, family member, but that is the first step into getting to reporting the case actually with the police, yes, with the police officers. And obviously because let's not, I would like to say, being realistic, legal representation is not so cheap in Namibia, right? And unfortunately, I think a great percentage of our community is not able to afford the legal representation that we have here. Obviously, we have legal aid and so on, and I'm not saying I'm undermining them in any way, but legal representation really is financially heavy, right, in most homes. So, but if you can, obviously, please do go to somebody that, you know, that is able to give you proper advice and apply through LegalWise. There are these different doorways that are there for one to go to.
I want to talk, perhaps there's somebody watching tonight that actually really doesn't know where to start and what to do about this situation. So I want you to walk us through the process of applying for a protection order or getting legal advice. Where does that person go? How does the process work?
All right, for somebody, the first one, which is reporting the matter to the police, is you just go to any police station, the nearest police station that you can find, and then from there you just tell the officer what your case is, and then from there they write it down and it becomes a case, and then they start investigating it. But like I said, it's not so easy for everyone to just walk into a police station and, you know, report a case, because there's also some sort of stigma around gender-based violence or being a victim of gender-based violence. So I would highly recommend that try talking to somebody first, because you need to open up about it, and you need to also admit to yourself that you are a victim of gender-based violence. So once you have spoken to someone, it becomes easier for you to take the next step, which is to report that case at any Windhoek police station here in Windhoek. The second, which is seeking legal representation or legal advice, you can go through the Ministry of Justice, where you can also apply for LegalWise or legal aid rather. So there you don't have to pay for legal representation. It's done on a pro bono basis, meaning that it's for free. So you can get free legal advice as to how you can take on the matter and what steps you need to take in order to eventually report this abuser. Yes, but I think my key takeaway for the public is I strongly advocate for opening up to someone. I think that is the greatest step, and the biggest step that one can actually do is recognizing it, that you are a victim, and yes, there's stigma around it, but you can get through it. And that does not define who you are or who you will be because of that certain situation or circumstances that you were under. But it really does help the next person next to you that's probably going through it, but doesn't also know how to open up about it. So talking to a friend, a family member, is the first and most significant step, I would say, yes.
Know your rights is the central message to the campaign. But what are some of the rights that survivors of GBV may not even realize that they have?
One of the most important rights that victims have, or rather everyone in Namibia actually has, is the rights that are enshrined under Chapter 3 of the Namibian Constitution, which speaks to dignity, respect, So when you go through Article 10, Article 8, they all talk about how you are entitled to human dignity. So how does human dignity speak to, or how does it coexist with, or how does it link rather to gender-based violence? Is the emotional aspect, the physical harm. You are entitled to a full and complete form of dignity to who you are and how you show up as a person, and also obviously your character again. So when that is harmed, it also harms your right of dignity as well. Yes. So I think that is one of the biggest rights actually that are infringed upon. Yes.
Kariua, just lastly, what lasting change is it that you hope, to see the Namibian communities receive as a result of this campaign?
All right, so we are the final, let's say the final part of our project will be on the 28th of August at the Havana Secondary High School, where we intend to give out pamphlets as well as 4 A2 information boards with regards to all the information regarding your rights and the possible remedies that you can take. And we have specifically chosen this school because we think that it's quite of great importance that at a young age, like but in your teens basically, that you know already what gender-based violence is and the different forms that it comes in, because at this tender age, it's actually where the rooted and grounded characterization takes place, where the forming of identification takes place for young people. So hence why we have chosen the Havana Secondary High School, and also particularly because unfortunately it is in vulnerable areas, let me say, vulnerable locations where gender-based violence has a high rate percentage of taking place. And so hence why we think that this will really have an impact on the students, or the learners rather. And from there, once they know what gender-based violence is and what their rights are, and the particular remedies, whether be it talking to a friend or the legal recourse available to them, they are then able to implement it at an earlier stage and obviously take it on into their family or even to their friends. Yes.
Kariua, thank you so much for your time this evening, and thank you for being with us here on the Daily Roundup.
Thank you, Nina, as well.
When we come back, we speak to Simon